Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with my review of Hellfest. So, what exactly is Hellfest? Hellfest is a recently released slasher flick that takes place largely in a Halloween-based theme park. So the basic plot is a masked serial killer uses a Halloween theme park as a cover to kill people, targeting those who are, what's a good way to put it, who are belligerently, no, that's not the best way, targeting those largely who are basically trying to ruin the experience for everyone else by pointing out things that aren't scary, or, oh hey, see how, that's how they do that. I guess in some ways it's kind of a, it could be looked upon as a very, very loosely a commentary of sorts on some horror fans anymore who tend to say, oh, that's not scary. That's not scary. Anyway, it's a, I thought it was a decently fun slasher flick. In all honesty, it's something that could potentially spark a franchise done right. Though it's the kind of franchise that would have to have a point where it says, okay, we're stopping here. Alright, so, the cast of note. First off, we got Amy Forsyth as Natalie. Natalie's a young college student. She's back home for Halloween, because that's totally a thing, right? Apparently, other things about her, she is on a scholarship and spends a lot of time studying, so she can keep that scholarship, and she's single, because she spends all of her free time studying. Next up, we got Rain Edwards as Brooke. She's Natalie's best friend. I'm presuming she's also a college student. She likes to party. It's not you know, everything about her, but you know, she does enjoy having a good time, and she makes one of those, you know, hey, you know, it's Halloween, you get to, yeah. Anyway, next up we got Bex Taylor Klaus as Taylor, Brooke's roommate, also a longtime acquaintance of Natalie's, whom she refers to as grade school, in part because of the fact that Natalie is rather vanilla when it comes to what she'll do. You know, kind of like, oh hey, we're all going to jump off this cliff into the, off this, you know, not too large cliff into the pond. No, I'm fine. I'll go down. I'll walk down this path here and meet you guys. You know, that kind of thing. But anyway, next up we got Christian James as Quinn, Brooke's boyfriend. Like, seriously, that's pretty much all that Quinn and Asher get. They are the boyfriends of Brooke and Taylor, respectively. Matt Mercurio as Asher, who is Taylor's boyfriend. But yeah, like I said, these two, they're the boyfriends. Next up, we got Robbie Attell as Gavin. Gavin is Natalie's love interest. Was able to provide the group with VIP passes to Hellfest, which allow them to bypass lines most of the time. He's apparently not that great at carnival games, and he's, for the most part, genuinely a nice guy. Awkward. But yeah, anyway. Finally, we've got Tony Todd as the Barker. Now, he's referred to in the credits as the Barker. He's a carnival barker of sorts. He oversees, I guess, the entrance to the hell portion of the park. It seems to me like he really had a fun time. Also, his voice pops up quite a bit throughout the movie. as it's used as his voice is used on a lot of the in park PA stuff, which is was actually kind of a neat way of doing some exposition about the park. But yeah, him and Taylor have a rather fun exchange during his big scene, where he tells Taylor that she must be punished for her sins, and she kind of says, "Well, which ones? Because I've run laps around the 7 deadly sins." Anyway, so first, okay, before we get into the breakdown of the movie, we're going to explain how the park is set up. So, all right, you've got a kind of generic batch of haunted houses, carnival games, and dance party section, which is it's the more mundane portion. Anyone can go to that. It's no big deal. And okay, yeah, there's gonna be waits, but next up there's the Deadlands and Hell. This is the more extreme portion of the park, and in fact, it shows that the character says that everyone has to sign a waiver to enter the Deadlands. In part because the park employees in the Deadlands can actually touch you. Now, presumably speaking, it's more like grab your arm or shoulder, or your side, or your leg, nothing that could be construed as basically just stuff that's designed to scare you, not so much to cop a feel. Only way to enter the Deadlands is through the ride Night Bumps. Then this is followed by one of the 3 mazes. The 3 mazes are Good Night, Sleep Like a Baby. I cannot remember the middle one, and it was mainly because nobody went through it that we saw. And Your Worst Nightmare. Of course, they're all designed to be scary mazes. And then finally, there is a sacrifice made by the Barker of a virgin. Then, of course, the gates of hell are yet another maze, haunted house / maze type thing. So anyway, that's what all we see, at least. There's probably quite a bit more that we didn't get to see. And to be perfect, I wish something like that was a real thing, at least near me. That would be fucking awesome. So, the spoiler-free breakdown. Act 1 of the movie. The movie begins, a young woman is murdered in, apparently, Orange Grove, a town called Orange Grove. And she's murdered in a haunted house. And we see that she is she's apparently hung with on a hook inside the house. Now, the fact that the town called Orange Grove leads me to suspect that this takes place in California, because oranges. Orange Grove sounds like a town name in California, and in fact may actually be a town name in California. And it seemed, the way the events are referred to in the movie, it seems like that Orange Grove is actually nearby to where where the bulk of the movie takes place. So, like I said, probably California, especially since it's comfortable in the fall. Well, that could be actually quite a few places, but never mind that. So, a few years later, Natalie returns home to visit her best friend Brooke. Natalie learns that Brooke is living with Taylor, who is none too fond of Natalie, and vice versa, and that she left something of an impression on Gavin last time she was home. The three girls, along with Brooke's boyfriend Quinn, go off to meet up with Asher, Taylor's boyfriend, and Gavin, who's arranged VIP passes for the group at Hellfest. As they walk around, the other enters and singles out his first victim, whom he kills in front of Natalie, who mistakes it for part of the haunted house they're in. Afterwards, the group do shots and decide to go to the Deadlands. After walking around the carnival portion of the park, wherein Gavin tries, oh boy does he try, to get Natalie a stuffed animal. So anyways, at a photo booth, Natalie and Gavin get a little close, do some making out. However, their photos are stolen by the other. This, of course, leads Natalie is even more certain that the other is following them. Brooke chases down the other, but trying to get the photos back, but he disappears. It's Act 2. The group gets in line for the Deadlands, save one member who goes back into the carnival park, at least briefly. The night bumps ride lures the group into the Deadlands, or at least the trial that leads to the Deadlands. The three mazes, Seems Like a Baby, whatever, and Their Worst Nightmare. So the group splits up, guys and girls, girls going into Sleep Like a Baby, the guys going to Your Worst Nightmare. The respective mazes further split everyone up until they exit the maze. At the build-up to opening the gates of hell, Taylor has volunteered to be sacrificed to open the gates. The other makes his presence known, leaving dead bodies in his wake. Act 3. What's left of the group at this point hides in another haunted house, the Gates of Hell, and are followed by the other, who disappears after being stabbed by Natalie, and before he can be found by the police. Natalie and other survivors are informed that they couldn't find him. And then there's a really neat kind of final bit that doesn't involve Natalie, but does involve the other. Okay, so some ups and downs. As I mentioned, the idea of the Hellfest Park is actually pretty cool to me. I dig stuff like that. I thought that the cast worked well together. The awkwardness between Natalie and Gavin, for example, fit. Brooke and Quinn and Taylor and Asher both also were believable as couples. The lighting for the haunted house was actually really good. It was dark enough to give the appropriate feeling, to get the appropriate feeling out of, oh, this is, you're supposed to be scared here. But at the same time, it was bright enough so you could at least see what the hell was going on, and keep track of the characters as they made their way through. There was never one like, whoa, wait, who did what, who? Anyway, very good use of misdirection. Some nice. None of the twists felt, kind of, hey, we have to throw some kind of twist in here. None of them felt like that. It was like, okay, I see what you've done there. The haunted houses themselves, that is some really cool set design. Especially the ones in Hellfest. The one in Orange Grove is actually kind of generic. It's what you expect for a haunted house, maybe in a smaller town. Oh, excuse me. But the ones in Hellfest were actually really neat looking with, and and themed. There was, for example, Deformatory School, which was supposed to be a zombified version of Reform School, and they had some really neat things set up with that. I thought it was pretty cool. Also, I like the ending and how it potentially arrange. I could see a couple sequels. Just really with just the other being the continual character. So anyways, Downs. Oh. So, I did enjoy the characters, and I thought they worked well together. But they are really two-dimensional. You know, each one's got their character trait. Like, okay, this is the trait that I have to do, and some of those traits were the same for multiple characters. Like, they looked different enough so you could, okay, all right, and but still, it's just like Quinn and Asher, for example, are practically interchangeable. They're dude bros that are dating two of the female characters who, while they're not interchangeable, those two, they're still also fairly similar. One's a more extreme version of the other, basically. The kills were all really simplistic, and I do to a degree enjoy gore in my slasher movies, and there really wasn't that much. There wasn't even that much blood. Also, going back to the characters, the movie's actually really, really short. I mean, it's not even an hour and a half. You figured maybe some time could be spent developing the 6 characters we're supposed to actually, give a shit about. But whatever. So, anyway. Overall, like I said, it's a fun slasher flick. I think fans of the slasher subgenre will really enjoy it. Also, it's got Tony Todd, who appears, from what I could see of the major scene with him, he seems to be having a lot of fun with it. And also just the way his voiceovers sound, I think he was having fun with that too. If you like slasher movies, go see it. If you like more cerebral horror movies, it's not going to really be your cup of tea. Overall, I'd say it gets a 3.5 out of 5. Anyway, that is it for today. Tomorrow we're going to have a building the team. Then later on in the week we will be doing our retro review of Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Boy, that one. Anyway, as always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my social media can be found and Patreon can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.